Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Well, good morning. Nick Collier here, and we've got another little project on the line here, and this really is going to be the first official application for the shop press that I built. I finished it about a month ago. So what we have is my little mini wood stoves that I sell on eBay. And actually they're beginning to sell a little more. Even here it is spring, but and that's okay. I don't mind that a bit. But what I want to do is I want to make this process move a little faster and a little more accurate. And what I've been doing is cutting out rings for the flue, and I'll show you a picture. And then I just cut them and put them in the Harbor Freight rolling dually bop. I can't remember the name of it. And roll out a circle, but I never get a circle. This is a circle because I tapped on it on the anvil and messed around with it and got it just right. And the reason why I have this one is because this is my master. So what I want to do is I want to be able to make a perfect circle. I want to be able to cut my length. I want to cut the profile out of the piece of metal in flat, and then roll that up into a perfect circle. And I was watching YouTube the other day, and you know, there was some machine, you know, who knows, I can't remember what it was, but it pulled a perfect circle like this using a kind of a shop press sort of approach. So we're going to do that, and you know, hey, let's get started. Okay, so since this is my master, and what I've done is I've made it so that the sleeve that I'm building fits on the inside of this, and then there, of course, there's a 4-inch flue that comes out of that. So this is a bit big as far as what I want. So what I want is this 4-inch diameter, and I found this piece of material here, you know, piece of scrap material that will make a perfect punch. Now we're going to need to make it a little smaller to get it to fit inside of there, but also we have to consider the spring action that's going to happen. You know, you push down and the metal springs back a little bit. So that'll work there. We'll probably take it down another 1/16 or something like that. And then I scrounged around and found a piece of pipe that'll fit on the outside of that. Perfect. Oh, well, except we've got the thickness of the material. So we have to take the thickness of the material plus calculating in the spring action and then getting this in place. So really what we have to have this much thickness as a gap between that, or else it won't work. So it's pretty good. We're going to take this. I've cut this one side already. We're going to go ahead and trim out the other side, probably bore it out just a little bit to clean it up and make it look nice, and then bring this piece down to fit this piece and with this in between and the spring action. So let's go over to the lathe. Okay, as I said earlier, we trued up the back side. Now we want to true up this side and then bore it a little bit. Okay, so we've got the ram part that we're working on now. Now the problem is I need to trim this outside edge down, but the hole is not big enough to fit on my jaws. So I'm going to open this hole up just a little bit, and just big enough to let it slide onto the jaws, and then we'll put it on the jaws and be able to trim the outside edge. All right, so we've got our outside and inside diameters cut. Now we're going to take two little pieces of material that are the same thickness as what we're going to use, and we're going to slide them in there, and they fit perfect. So we know that there's enough relief in there. So now what we want to do is we want to come in and take this outer sleeve and cut it in half so that we have a half a piece that we can bend into. So let's take that over to the saw and cut it. And because it's so difficult would be so difficult to set this up in the clamp, I'm going to just cut it by hand. So we'll just get that going. Okay, so we've got two sleeves. Now we're going to take it over to the grinder because this is going to be the facing edge. We're going to take it over to the grinder and round that off a little bit and just kind of smooth it off so that nobody cuts themselves when we're using it. So, well, let's go over to the grinder. Okay, we got most of our components put together here. A half circle, which matches the punch part. We've got a plate of steel. We've got as a support. We're going to put this here, and then put these two up here, and that'll catch it just about right. We'll throw a weld bead on that, and a weld bead over here, and then we'll roll that over to make it nice and smooth so that when the metal goes down it folds in nice and clean. So I think we're almost ready to weld. I can't see any reason why we shouldn't. So let's just go over to the welding bench and weld. All right, well, we're going to set it up this way, and then we have this part in the center here where we've got to come up with something to beef up the center. And as I'm setting this back up on the welding table, I look at it and go, well, wait a second. What about if we just kick these things in at an angle and weld them up? Now that's not bad. That supports the circle, and all we got to do is come in out here and maybe put a little gusset in there just to kind of support that a little bit. I like the idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to find some kind of medium ground here to put that in. And we're going to get our welder wherever it's at. And somewhere right about in there, I would think, and we're just going to throw just a nice little short tack. If it would tack. Okay, try it again. Oh, come on. We're not getting a good enough ground here. It's a reasonable start. It torqued a little bit on me, so I just want to bring it back just a little bit if I can. And actually, I want to have it deeper and further back. So, yeah, sure. There we go. Further back and deeper. And that looks like it could work. That's squared up reasonably well. Even further back. Bit too much of a rake. Nice and square though. So let's just see if we can tap this back a little bit without cracking the weld. A little bit. Yeah, that's better. I'd say something right in there. I'm going to spin this around. Oops, hang on here. Something about right there. All right, it torqued a little bit on me, but we're pretty close. Okay, that's just about right. Now it's a little bit askew that way. Now let's knock it down. And drag it this way a little bit. Didn't quite reach the bottom. Nice though. Yeah, that looks good just like it is. We're going to give it a second try here. Just a little bit above the bottom, but I think what we might do is just grind out a little bit where the contact is and just get it to drop down just right, because that looks pretty good. Okay, it's a little off center. I see that, but you know what? I think I can live with that. The whole thing is off. Okay, I can't live with it. There we go. That straightened it out. Not a little too far. That straightened it out. Now we're sitting way above. Okay, we're going to lock this one in and then adjust the other one to it. All right, we're just going to lock it in a little bit. Now it's sitting really high. So let's take this one and break it. Maybe. Yep. I'm going to grind these two down. All right, well, you know, the last couple of steps, the battery went dead and I didn't notice that the camera was off. So we are now done with the welding. Well, not totally done, but we're done enough to give this a try and see if it's going to work at all. And if it is, we'll continue on beefing this thing up and making the positive part to fit the ram. But right now, we can just do a kind of a fake it approach and see what we can come up with. And I'm thinking we could drop this in here like this, and that might just give us what we want. Let's do it this way. There we go. All right. Let me get some headphones because this thing makes a hell of a lot of noise. I don't know, can you see it? Looks like a half circle to me. The only thing that's holding us back is the ram is in the way. Now the way I'm planning on setting this up is I'm going to bring something through the center of this and up and tag into the ram up here so that there's space in here to close this up. But I'm seeing that this is going to create a complete circle. And that is very exciting. Now, what size of a complete circle, I'm not sure, but we're going to give it a try and see. I've got to lift this up. Hang on. Crank up again. That is nice. I see a nice curve there. So tomorrow or so, whenever I get back to this project, we're going to go ahead and make the side pieces for it. And I think I have the material right here. We'll just kind of come up and probably just weld it to the side of that and then put a platform up here so that it has a push. So we'll be back soon.